Hey everyone, this is Coach Dave March here, and in this episode of the Growth Mindset podcast, we're going to have a special guest, Alex, on the call, and we're going to be talking about the difference between recruiting, career coaching. Stick around, it's going to be a great episode. We're back. All right, so we're here. We've got my co-host, Patrick Brown, of course, and our special guest today is Alex. Say hello to the good people.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, and so this episode is going to be really interesting. I'm constantly seeing um, candidates not understanding the difference between a career coach and a recruiter, and it's an issue because a recruiter just doesn't have the time to dedicate all of their energy to one candidate. That's just not how the system how it works. I mean, if you're a recruiter, you have multiple recs, you have multiple hiring managers you need to speak to. There's projects, initiatives, and simply you just don't have the time and energy to dedicate fully to one candidate. And that's really the difference between a career coach, which career coach really does help that one candidate find exactly where they want to go based on their interests, based on their personality, based on whatever goals they have as well. And yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Alex?
Yeah, I completely agree. You're getting pressure from the business, from the company that you're working from if you're a recruiter. And so it is hard to just kind of dedicate all of your time to one candidate, even if you think that individual is amazing and they can really brighten up the business and really work hard to really push things forward in terms of what you're trying to achieve. But yeah, career coach is, certainly someone who can be more dedicated, who can really understand the journey that you've been on properly, and really try to, work on those skills that you have to ensure that you're going to be even more effective in terms of what you're doing. So yeah, it gets convoluted quite a lot, but I'm, really glad that we're having this episode to really try and set things straight because I think it's really important that it will really help people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, one of the things I think that's really interesting is when you really do start thinking about it, um, the work, the activities, the exercises that a career coach is doing almost destroys the process of recruiting.
Hmm.
Because if you're a recruiter and you're trying to assess the competencies of a particular individual, you're not looking to give them all the answers. You're not looking to spoon feed them all the answers. How am I really assessing their competency if I tell them what to do, what to say, how to say it, as a coach would?
Exactly,
I
exactly.
mean, it seems like you'd be hooking them up, basically. You know what I mean? Taking someone who may not be, but giving them all the answers and pretty much hooking them up with a job just off the criteria of knowing what the company is, which is kind of a backdoor thing to do to the company, more so on that side of things to, get a candidate that might not be as qualified as they need to be, but you kind of coach them into the position. So, hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is going to be a reason why maybe you're not getting responses from some recruiters if you're asking them to do everything for you, give you the answers, provide you information about, the role that, because that's not their role, that's not what they're recruited to do. And they're trying to find the best people. So you need to show that initiative if you're speaking to a recruiter. Like David mentioned, it's very different in terms of career coach.
I
I can
mean, I think
understand
in the terms of basketball, you wouldn't go to an NBA tryout and ask them to help you practice.
that.
So yeah,
No way. Yeah,
You
I'd
just
have
wouldn't
to
do it. You
have
just
it.
wouldn't do it. You just wouldn't do
exactly.
it.
Great analogy.
Um, so that's the thing. So if you're working with someone, especially like let's say you're working with like some technology candidate. Let's say you're talking about software engineer. You ask the guy, can you code? Yes. Okay. I'm supposed to take your word for it? I'm not, I've never met you before in my entire life. You say yes. Okay, that's it. You got the job. Like this, it's not going to work out well. It's not going to work out well. Like, what's some, what's some, you have to ask some real inquisitive questions that gets to the heart of their understanding.
Mm.
Or you do like some kind of coding assessment.
So
Um,
I guess for me, this would be a question to Alex. What are some of the fact-finding questions or some of the um, tests that you do in order to show a candidate approved for a company? Because a
Yeah,
resume is required by everybody, but what else?
well, see, yeah, that's a very good question, and it really depends on the role that you're definitely going for. But I mean, I'm a recruiter, and I probably shouldn't say this, but recruitment questions, they can be gamed. You can create a system of saying the right things. And so that's why I do think an assessment does need to go alongside the interview that you have. It really is important to do that, definitely. But that still leads to possibility for inherent risk. So as a hiring manager, as a recruiter, every hire is a risk. I don't want to say it sounds silly, but it really is. And you don't know whether you're going to get the perfect candidate. You're going to do the right job in terms of that recruitment that you've done. And so that's why when an employee comes on and then they go above and beyond and they showcase even more skills than
Mm.
you even tested for, that's when you know you've got an absolutely fantastic candidate, and you've got somebody who's really going to thrive in your organization, and make things work, because they're not just looking at a job description, they're looking at way more than that, how they can implement themselves inside the organization properly.
Absolutely. Now, how heavy is it? Like sort of like if you were, recruiting for any other position, let's say, like I said, basketball or things of that nature, how strict are companies toward the idea of you recruited two bad apples, I'm ready to cut you loose? Are they, or long as you find a candidate that's decent, like how strict are they on you as a recruiter?
Uh,
that's
yes, they
company by
can.
company. That's company by
Yeah,
company, I think.
yeah,
Okay.
really is. But if they are just completely not what the company needs, then naturally they will start to look at, the
Yeah.
technique and the tactics that you've used. But also at the same time, we do put a heavy onus too much on recruiters, because hiring managers are the
Yeah.
ones that are
We got
recruiting them.
this
Yeah,
conversation needed to go there at some point. We all
yeah,
knew
they
that.
they make that end decision.
So
So
they're the final decision maker. I just brought you someone that seemed to be of moldable clay. It's up to you to tell me if this is the product that you really need.
really, yeah, yeah, it really is, because they're the one that has that deep, deep technical knowledge, the deep,
Gotcha.
understanding of the role and what is needed within that specific team. Yes, they're the recruiters given a brief, and they will provide you the best number of candidates possible. But yeah, I think sometimes recruiters get a
Yeah,
bad, you know,
Bad rap. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
think about that.
This is a good point. It's a good point here.
Yeah,
Did
because
you want to say something, Patrick?
yeah, I just wanted to say, so your rapport is more with the hiring manager. That's like, okay, I need these guys, and you send me six guys, and I'm looking for a programmer, and one's a plumber, two's an electrician, and one guy taught school. It's like,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
wait a minute,
real.
are you just
That's
sending
real.
me people, So
yeah.
I guess that would be more of the, give and take between you two guys. It's like, look, I'm getting you good people, or I'm doing my
Mhm.
best of getting you people from what you're saying. So it's up to
Yes.
you to finish the job, or,
So that's why it's really important for a recruiter to build a good relationship with their hiring managers, because then they understand more about them, understand more about what they like, and what maybe they need. So those are definitely two different things, in a sense.
This is
But
a
everything
great
is,
point right here. This is a great point right
yeah,
here. So I'm glad I'm here on this. But think about it this way, right? Um, a recruiter, a recruiter's recommendation holds a lot of weight because of the strength of the relationship they have.
Yeah.
Mm, got you. Hmm.
Yeah.
So in the end, I guess we're drilling it down. We say the recruiter works for the company, but that's a broad thought. It's really the recruiter and the hiring manager and the career coach and the candidate that are
Yeah,
the
correct. So you could almost see it like this. Because I like to see it like this. So the recruiter has existing relationships with hiring managers, and that's to say, if you're a staffing agency recruiter, you have a strong relationship with the hiring manager, and if that recruiter recommends that candidate to the hiring manager because the recommendation holds a lot of weight,
Yeah.
there's a higher likelihood that they're going to interview.
hmm
Um,
Yeah.
but as a career coach, there is extremely high possibility that the company that you want, I don't have any relationships with.
Mm.
Because the whole point is that
Yes.
you're leading the show here. The whole point is
Yes.
that I'm dedicated to you. So whatever you want to do, we'll work together on it. So
Yeah.
very, very high chance that I have no relationships with the company that you want because you just want whatever company you want. I don't have
Yes.
relationships with the
Exactly.
entire world.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess that brings the question now. I'm on the side of wondering, as far as a career coach, when you run into someone who even may be you look at their resume and everything, it's like, yeah, you probably be a good candidate for this company. I don't have any rapport with this company. Is there a way to try and gain that, or it's just get it
That's
water?
the whole thing of so and I think that this is such a good point too. I think this is really going to hit home for a lot of people.
Yeah.
When you really think about it from again this recruiter versus career coach mindset, it's like with a career coach, there's no guarantee of getting a position.
Mm,
No guarantee of getting a position. Just like a dating coach can't guarantee someone's going to fall in
yeah,
love with you.
absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not ethical. That's not even ethical. You think I'm not, I can't just make someone fall in love with you. And similarly, as a career coach, I can't make someone hire you.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
There's no guarantee of getting you the job because it's really just the dedicated partnership that I have with that candidate that I'm offering, the coaching support, so that they can get what they're looking to do, accomplish their goals.
So I guess in the end, it would be more or less your job is to put someone in a position of fundamentally on paper or in general being the best candidate in the field. Because yeah, you can't put someone on an NBA team, but if they show up to the tryouts and they blowing the competition away, it would have to be bias for them to not get the job. And that's really the thing. I mean, you can't, everybody has a bias of what they may feel fit better with their company, even though you're a great player. But it's only so many times you can put that great player in a draft and he not get drafted because he's a great player. Ah,
Yeah. Yeah. They're- Essentially, they're helping you put your best foot forward,
yeah,
definitely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and really push through, I guess. But
the
well,
rejection.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
how many times are people getting
basically,
rejected on a
yeah,
job application, right? I mean, oh, I got another rejection. Oh, I feel like I'm just going to quit.
Mm,
yeah.
Coach is there to encourage you.
yeah, keep going, keep
Keep
And
pushing.
going.
it's not always you, you know. Sometimes it's them. That
It's
can be the problem.
it's
So
not,
yeah, you have
Yeah.
to keep going. Yeah,
Also, I was thinking, with your situation, hiring manager to
mm,
recruiter, it really helps if, depending on who's good at whatever. Meaning, if you got a great recruiter, you can have a little less on the hiring manager due to the fact that the recruiter he is almost like a hiring manager in ways because he's the first one to vet a candidate for them. And in that kind of idea, it seems that sometimes hiring managers get lazy, which is why the recruiter ends up taking on the brunt of the drama because the hiring manager slides back like, it wasn't me. This is what I had to work with. This is all he sent me. And it's like, no, I sent you more. You chose that one. It wasn't
mm,
on me. But yeah, I can see how they
yeah,
pass the buck is a big thing in companies. It's like it's
That's
not a
that's a whole nother conversation there because yeah. And if there's any recruiters listening to this, watching this, they'll be shaking their heads like, yeah, okay, yeah. Um, but yeah, not everyone likes to take the blame for things, and sometimes we're all human. There is no
Mhm.
100% perfect recruitment record ever
Yeah.
from a hiring manager or a recruiter, but it's just trying to minimize any errors or anomalies in that sense. And yeah, and when you do find somebody who, like I said earlier, goes above and beyond and kind of hits so many metrics, and maybe not in one way, but in different ways, but that could be great for the dynamics of the team.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful thing,
I,
definitely.
I look at the fact that, as we say, career coach versus recruiter, it seems almost like a sparring match, which I think what is it? Iron sharpens iron or something, steel sharpens steel. I feel like, just like you said, you could almost game a recruiter depending on, the same question I was asking, how do you vet someone to make sure that they're a worthwhile candidate? I think between the career coach knowing tricks or whatever, if the two discussed between each other, meaning not like I got a candidate and I'm trying to get him on your company. I just mean in general, like you two guys, it would almost be like, this is my line of defense to not have bad candidates. And as a career coach, my job is to get through your line of defense to get my candidate in, which in the end, it's almost like creating a security system and then say, okay, now try to rob me. Ah, you got me. Where did I go wrong? Oh, there's a hole here. And I feel like the two of y'all could almost, you know what I'm saying? Like strength test the system,
Mm.
back and forth. And I think that kind of, could help both people grow because it's like a sparring match, almost of wits a lot of times, saying the
Yeah,
right thing, not saying that thing. Like you could be a great candidate, say the wrong thing, and the recruiter's like, nah, you know what
that's
I'm saying?
it. Yeah,
So I think the
yeah.
two of y'all actually, in the grand scheme of things, help sharpen each other. Which brings me to the question you said, well, you've worked as a recruiter, right, Dave? Have you
Of
ever
course.
worked as a career coach, Alex?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Okay,
Well, I like to impart wisdom, but I would call myself a career coach
career
in that
coach.
sense.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. Because I was going to say, okay, so switching between the two, have you noticed, I'll say, Dave, have you noticed a a I'll say Achilles heel, maybe something that's a hole in your recruitment process from the career coaching side, you're like, if I knew who your recruiter was, I would exploit this. Have you seen where you made?
I feel like the biggest piece really is around the recruiter's understanding of the technical side of things.
Mm,
Because at the end of the day, the recruiter, majority of the time, does not have a technical understanding of the specific things they're recruiting for.
yeah.
So, yeah,
So,
so they're relying on the technical expertise of the hiring manager to
Yeah.
really
like,
decipher that. So the
Yeah.
recruiter could be more of like a vibe check
mm.
because especially if I'm hiring for something really technical and specific, I'm not going to have that nuanced knowledge that a hiring manager is going to have.
So
Yeah.
you're
So,
basically saying I could go on Chat GPT and get a word soup and kind of razzle dazzle impress a recruiter due to the fact that if I start talking C++ with JavaScript and this and that and the third, it's like he seems pretty technical. I have no clue exactly what that is, but he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. So it almost seems like if the technical knowledge is the key, then the best bet for a company would be getting a recruiter specific, possibly someone who actually worked in the field if you're really that serious about, your job. Because
I
if
think
we keep
Alex wants to hit this one. I think Alex wants
Yeah,
to hit this one.
yeah. Well, there's a couple of things that come to mind there, and you're absolutely right. And I think two things. Like I said, the first is how dedicated is that recruiter? Because there will be recruiters who really try to understand the technical elements of the role,
Yeah.
um, and they do extremely well. And the best way to learn is by talking to candidates and really listening
Yes.
and understanding what they do in their role properly. But then there comes the other side of things is if you work for an organization and look, across the world, we're going through economic difficulties and they're starting to reduce the size of their talent attraction team or the recruitment team, and then you've got to start working on lots of different roles that you maybe didn't before, then you have to transfer those skills that you already had into other positions. So then that makes it harder for you to then be that technical expert. So there's lots of different things that can be a factor in terms of that. So that's why you really do need to have that relationship with the hiring manager, where, yeah, as David said, they will be able to, really
with
use
the
the
rest.
expertise that they have even more. It's like a second line of defense, or it should be that
Yeah.
last line of defense, really, in a sense.
Um, I
Yeah,
guess it's funny because it's like understanding this from the career coaching side, it's almost like I can't guarantee you a job, but there are some things that I can exploit that because of the situations of recruiters, I can get your foot in the door. I can at least get you to the hiring manager, is the idea. Is like I can get past the recruiter if you say these things or show this level of skill or you're able to really impress them with your technical knowledge would be something to be, I guess you could say, coached on.
yeah,
Considering the fact they really want to know your expertise in the job. And if you can talk the jargon, you probably can get at least past the first phase of things, would be my
maybe.
guess.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the recruiter's a little bit more witty,
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
All
than
right.
that.
Don't let me stop you in
But
time.
look, there is a whole
And I
spectrum in the ability of recruiters. So,
got you.
so
Yeah.
it's a hard one. Yeah.
Because,
I
okay.
think that the most interesting thing to be said here is the idea of risk. I think
Mm,
that's the most interesting thing to be said because when you think about it, especially on a very pretty much especially on staffing agency perspective,
yeah, okay.
very now we're not talking about internal recruiting, okay? Just be clear, not
You're
talking about
talking about a
corporate
template.
recruiting.
Yeah.
We're talking about a staffing agency, a third
Yeah,
party recruiter.
yeah.
Um, and so from the risk standpoint, there is a there really is a difference in financials because there's always that risk reward continuum, what do you want to call it?
Mm,
It's like, high risk, high reward, low risk, low reward. Kind of like
mm,
there's this like continuum, if you will.
yeah.
So with a staffing agency specifically, not an internal recruiter, there usually is a guarantee to the company that they get the position, that that person gets the position.
Oh,
So yeah, when it's a staffing agency to a company, there usually is a guarantee. Now, what I just say about the risk reward situation,
what do you mean like
well,
there's a what do you mean like there's if a
there is a
staff?
guarantee. Like when you're a staffing agency recruiter and you work with a particular company to help
Hmm.
them fill the role, there is
Yeah.
a guarantee
I
that that person will be good for that role. Maybe there's a 30-day guarantee, 90-day guarantee. It's kind of the art of the deal, if you will, to talk to the company about what the agreement is going to say. But the fact of the matter is there is a guarantee, and that could be 30-day guarantee, 60-day guarantee that you'll like this candidate after you hire them,
Okay.
and that they'll stay
Okay.
for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. Yeah.
Got you.
Um, Now, again,
And the staffing agency kind of takes on a heavier um role
risk,
in that whole situation to put a guarantee behind a candidate kind of seems like
risk, more risk.
yeah,
Yeah.
you have to really, really vet because which
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. Exactly. Like,
so would you
But
say
risk reward, think about that. Risk
yeah,
reward. It's really the biggest piece
that's
here
that's why being a
because,
recruiter in that field's hard. It is high risk. Yeah.
yeah,
You've
there's
seen it
risk
all.
reward though. That's the biggest piece here
Yeah.
because, okay, let's say that's the case, but what's the financial difference? The financial difference is, well, a company is paying, let's say, 25% of the base salary of the individual, 20% of the base salary of the individual. That is a much higher fee than what a career coach is
Yeah.
offering, which
Mhm.
is why there's no guarantee.
Got you. But what I was asking was okay, so there are recruiters who recruit just for a specific company. Am I correct? And
Um,
What do you mean by that?
meaning like do does a company, for example, in music, we have A&Rs. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And they go out. You don't get the deal just because the A&R found you. The A&R has found you for the company, and the company then vets you. But he doesn't work. The A&R doesn't work for Universal and Virgin.
Mm.
They only work for Universal, or more specifically, I don't even want to say Bad Boy Records due to all the stuff going on with Diddy, but just for the term, he's an A&R for Bad Boy Records, who is under the umbrella of another company. Either
Yeah.
way, the point is he only is recruiting for them, not like I'm just a recruiter. Anybody calls me, I'm an A&R that I can fill positions for any music company. So what I'm asking is, do certain companies have specific recruiters that recruit just for that company? And,
Yeah. So, yes, yes. The answer is yes. But
okay.
so if you are a recruiter, you would build up a book of, say, like, hope it'd be great if you had like 10 organizations that you work with and that you know that you're going to get roles from them on a regular basis because you've built up that trust.
Gotcha.
And that gives you a bit more stability because you know that you've got these clients that have a certain number of roles per year, and then you work really hard to try and fill them.
Mm.
Or you can work for the client, but you would then be retained. So they would pay you a certain amount upfront, and they would pay you directly for that search. So in that first example I gave you, even though you could be working with 10 organizations, they could each have five or six other recruiters from five or six other organizations that work with them too. So you're still in a rat race to
Okay.
try and find the best recruiter.
Gotcha.
Um, but but if you understand the organization more and provide them with better candidates, then obviously you're going to go up that list, and they're going to trust you a lot more, and depend on kind of the supply that you provide to them as well.
So I would ask, what do you think? Well, I guess you could answer, which is more lucrative? Do you think working independently, having multiple companies that you for, or working for a staffing agency who, you know, you just recruit for whatever company is sending to the staffing agency, which one do you feel is a more
Oh,
financially beneficial?
def definitely if you're working with, six or seven or however many organizations, because you can forward plan a little bit. You know, you can understand how many roles you're going to get,
Hmm.
when they're going to be released, and then you can start working early before they are released. And so then that's what I would do. I would be like, right, okay, I know that they're looking to grow their risk division. They're going to need this many kind of analysts or whatever.
Hmm.
Here we go. I'm going to put the work in. Then as soon as the role becomes live, I'm like, bow, here you go. You've
I
got
got you.
10
I got you
resumes.
first.
Look at these babies, So yeah, it just gives you a lot more stability, and it gives you a drive as well, rather than trying to hunt for odd roles here and there, and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
gets
I mean, at the end
exhausting.
of the day, it is individual preference.
Yeah,
It
it
is
is. It
individual
is.
preference because
It
you
is.
might have a personality type that
Yeah,
enjoys the hunting.
that's
Um,
true. Absolutely true. Absolutely good point there. Yeah,
yeah, it's personality type is really the whole thing too.
that's
Um,
true.
it really depends on you, really, at the end of
Yeah.
the day, and what your goals are and what you want. Um, uh, you know.
Yeah. Some
Um,
recruiters only work permanently. Some recruiters will work just on contractors,
Yeah, I mean,
getting a different type of
there's a lot of
personality.
nuance within the recruiting
Yeah.
industry, and
Yeah.
like you said, there's a retained search, there's a contingent search, there's a
Mm.
contract search, and then there's internal. And internal is uh, in some ways easier because you kind of know what's coming.
Mm.
Because you're internal into the company. You're like if you're just with that one company, like you're just with that one brand,
mhm.
you know kind of somewhat what's going on because you're internal to the company. You hear things
So you know when
going
somebody's
on.
about to get fired, it's basically,
Yeah.
and you need to
Well,
get.
I mean that no, no, yeah. I mean
Yeah,
there's
but if you make a bad hire, then that hiring manager is in your company and they are on you. So,
yeah, I mean
so they're not going to let you live it down, even though they should have made the last decision, which they had, which you spoke about
yeah,
earlier.
and again, the onus
You're
is on
still
the hiring manager a
cringing.
little too.
There's pros and cons definitely
There's
on
pros and cons to all
each
these
different
things.
way.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to ask on the career coaching side, understanding all of these roles from a recruiter, even though, obviously it's based on being a good candidate, is there things that you can, let's say I'm pretty good for the job, but what do I need to do to be impressive to a recruiter? Do you help with those things? Like,
Yeah, so that's really where the career coach comes in, I
okay,
think. That's what we're talking about here.
gotcha.
Um, because really now we're talking about writing out your high impact stories.
Mm,
Like we're talking about writing out your accomplishments. Um, and really bringing into your conscious awareness of all the things you've done. Because it's possible you've done this for 20 years, the same job, and you know so much stuff about it, you just forgot because you've been doing it for so long.
hmm
And I can't tell you how many times that happens. One of my favorite stories of that is, working with like the editor of the New York Times. Like the word edit was not in his resume once. Like,
Yeah.
did you edit at any point? Because no recruiters are going to be searching on your resume for
Yeah.
editing. If they're looking for an editor,
Certain
your
keywords.
resume doesn't say the
Yeah.
word editor once.
Yeah.
True.
Should
True.
probably have it in there.
So
Okay.
this is why it's so good to work with David because he's been a recruiter and so he can think like a recruiter and that's what you need to do to bring out the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else? No, I'm good. I'm good. I guess we can carry forward in the
Yeah.
article that you was
Well,
reading.
the biggest piece again is um, I really think that guarantee thing is such a big piece. People
Hmm
don't realize how big of a piece that is. And look, that's why it's so much more expensive. I mean, if there's a career coach out there that's going to charge you say 25% of the base salary, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Let's say there's a, 300, $400,000 position. And I said, okay, I get you the position, let's say 25%. And there's no guarantee.
Mm. Yeah.
Great business.
Hold on. Wait.
That's
So
why there's a difference between a
I,
career coach and a recruiter.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, it just
Because
curious.
the risk is more evenly distributed. That's
Just
why it's so
curious.
much less. Like
When,
if you're a recruiting agency, the risk is all on you, and that's why you're charging so much more
Mhm.
because I'm taking on all
Yeah.
the risk of this to find you the right person.
I was gonna say, so for example, like me being the military, I have some injuries from military, and I haven't began to file my claims, but there are lawyers that'll do it for you, but they will take a percentage of your back pay for their payment, so they won't charge you up front, but they'll take a percentage of your back pay. Now, as a coach, you can't not charge up front, but do you think there's especially if it's a big position like
Yeah,
300,000, like
yeah,
you
I've seen
said,
this happen before.
where you
I've seen
can
this
say,
happen
and
before.
if I land you this job and you get this salary, then a
Yeah,
percentage on the back end.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I've seen this happen before. Yeah, you get a success fee. Like yeah,
Yeah.
we can do that. But I mean, you cannot charge up front. You have to charge up front if you're a coach. That's just
Yeah,
how it
yeah,
is.
absolutely.
He has
Absolutely.
to be coaching up front because I'm not. I'm
I'm gonna
coaching you.
die. I
That
ain't gonna.
is what you're paying for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
that's why you pay up front for it because I'm coaching you. I'm not getting you a position. There's no guarantee of getting you a position. The guarantee was that I will work with you until you get the position that you want. There's a partnership between you and me, but there's no guarantee of position.
Got you. But could you say there's a guarantee that I'm going to make you a better candidate than you was before you came through my door? I'm not
Oh,
saying,
definitely.
yeah,
Oh, for sure.
there's that. It's a investment in self. And for me, it's like I'm living proof like when I needed a new job and I asked you to fix up my resume, and it was like 2 weeks later I was in a job. So just off of that alone, it's not that you guaranteed me a job, but you definitely improved my put me in a higher percentile of
Yeah.
candidates than the bottom rank, which, you know, allowed that. So I think the biggest thing is the guarantee is in there is only so many candidates percentage wise that are going to be on your level after coaching. Matter of fact, very few people actually decide to have a coach. Most people try to go it alone. So you're already stepping above your competition by actually taking someone who knows the field. I was laughing because you told me a friend of mine, he is looking for new jobs and he's a graphic designer. And the whole time I was thinking graphic design, and then David was like, he should be in marketing. And I was like, why didn't I ever thought of it? Because I do this and you don't. So in the end, it's kind of like that. I am helping you be a better candidate, and you're going to beat your competition normally based off the fact that they don't have a coach. They don't have someone seeing things, two heads better than one. So I think there is a guarantee, and not a guarantee of job, but a guarantee of improvement of a person, which kind of goes hand in hand with, eventually we're going to get you a job because you're better than most. So,
Yeah.
That's a
um,
great point. Do you
now
have anything to say on that one?
I mean,
that was,
that's, I can't say it any better than that, to be
Just
honest. That's
saying that.
exactly, yeah, that's exactly what it is about, to be honest. Improving
Yeah.
yourself and yeah, giving yourself the best chances of securing a job. And that's when I said earlier about, kind of think like a recruiter. It's not entirely that, but it's what what are recruiters looking for? What are hiring managers looking for? What element of yourself can you bring forward and make a recruiter say, "Hey, I cannot pass you by. I need to have a further conversation with you and pass you on to my hiring manager and put you on further into the process." So yeah, there is no guarantee,
but
but
yeah.
there is a guarantee in self that
Mm,
you'll improve.
true, true.
Yeah,
And I think it's so, just even when you just ask the question, what is a hiring manager looking for? What is a recruiter looking for? You could ask that to about 20 people who are trying for a job, and they'd say, I don't know. I don't know. I
yeah,
don't know. I put in a lot of applications and I've worked a lot of jobs, but if you ask me what they were looking for, I I got, you know what I'm saying? I guess it was me, but in the end, I could not quantify that. Whereas having someone who can quantify that, like it just puts you in a better position, you
absolutely, absolutely.
know. That was the one. You had the cold emails to hiring managers.
Oh yeah. Do you want to talk about
Yeah,
that one?
Yeah, because I think that goes right hand in hand with trying to get a job, trying to
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
break
Yeah. I
through.
think that, and again, that's the main difference between a career coach and a recruiter. Because
absolutely.
again, as a career coach, I don't have the relationships. That's the main thing, and don't have relationships. You have a particular interest in a particular company that you're coming to me about. I like this company. And I said, okay, well, let's see how we can build a relationship with those companies. And how can we do that? By communicating with them. How are we going to communicate with them? Email. You communicate with them on LinkedIn. You have to communicate to have a relationship, right? So it has to be
Yeah,
what form of outreach are you going to use to build this relationship?
yeah,
You know? And so that's what I'm saying. Yeah, if cold email works, you could do cold email outreach. And that would be, one piece of a job search strategy to build a relationship with someone there. Um, and so that's what
yeah,
I think. And then there are things that you could do in your outreach messages that will get you ahead. And I think Alex could definitely speak to this. How many
Mhm.
people just send you like a message saying, "Hey, need job. Here's resume."
yeah, a lot. Do you know, I don't want to sound silly, but like the amount of times I just get like It's a LinkedIn message from somebody I don't know, and they'll just say hi. And I'm like,
Hi, I need a job. Here's
you've got
resume.
to tell me more
What do you want me to
because you
do? What,
can't
you
just
want me
say
to do all the
hi.
work for
Like,
you? I don't understand.
we can't have a kind of MSN Messenger conversation. You
Mm.
need to get to the point and try and give me some detail about, what role you're looking for, what interests you, or and grab my attention. And yeah, it's really important to do that because recruiters get a lot
Many
of
people do
messages, and
this.
it's not, you're not trying to be rude, if you don't get back to individuals,
I
but
don't have
you
time.
have to provide a bit more information, or grab our attention somehow. I mean, that does grab my attention, but not in the right way, to be honest. So
I mean, we're talking about
yeah,
it right now. If you don't mind us to talk about it
yeah,
like
we are.
this.
For those who do that, you did get attention. Unfortunately, not in the best way.
I don't want to be rude, but yeah, just
Yeah.
yeah. But
Happens all the time. Happens all the time.
mm,
So how do
yeah,
we do what is the proper way to go about that whole
Well, I,
situation?
I have it in the article there. I wrote it all out for people so they can, know what to do. And again, the whole idea is if you're having trouble implementing this, hire a coach. That's the whole point of writing the article. If you're having a hard time with this.
Mm.
Um,
yeah.
but like one
I
of the
think
key
that
points here, what did you
you
say?
said, I was thinking about when you said you can have knowledge, but embodiment of knowledge
Oh
is
yeah.
so yeah, it's there, but the embodiment of it.
That's what we had a whole episode on this, Alex. Um,
Okay.
and we haven't launched it yet. But I think I mean
I
this is
I think I like
this
this. Yeah, I'm gonna
well,
cut it. I was like cut it out of it, but I do like this one to have both of you guys on here because it feels more, you know, I'm getting both sides at the same time, and it really, works out.
Yeah, that's good. I mean,
yeah, so go ahead.
no, what I was going to say is, and it definitely relates to the article that you put on. It's about building relationships, or building a relationship in a sense. And I'm not trying
Yeah,
to
you're
go out with
networking.
anybody,
You're
but
trying to network.
networking in that sense. And for me, and I've got very recent examples of this, um, you know, people reaching out to me, and maybe talking about a role that they're interested in, but really telling me and showing me how much they want to work for the organization. That sits for me really well. And if they haven't been successful with one opportunity, they've taken it on the chin and said, um, I'm interested in moving forward for another opportunity. And they just show a real interest. And for me, in your article, you mention about kind of just building up and kind of I can't remember exactly what it is that you
Oh
said.
yeah,
Sorry
I think
about
I
that.
said yeah,
Yeah.
I think I said like deposits. You make like deposits.
Yeah, deposits, and it really is true. If somebody can really show that they're really keen on the organization just as much as the role, it's like, wow, okay, they really want to work for for your organization. They're really thinking about how they can really positively impact
Mm.
um, the organization. And
So
yeah,
I was gonna say, so if someone came and they knew the history of the organization, even some of the, I would say, gosh darn, um,
gosh darn.
I know, right? I would say if they knew the organization, like history, as well as, let's say, some of the downfalls the organization have, and even possibly some solutions they thought about. For example, like I said, I used to work for Toyota, and they had an issue with the Camry or whatever. And if I noticed that, and then I came to want to be part of the organization and was able to even say, I looked at when y'all had this downturn, and I think with what I know could help prevent certain situations because you're, really into the company, that probably would
Yes,
stand out uh
absolutely.
more. So
10,000%. 10,000%. Yeah, yeah.
Research. Do the research in the company.
Research. And
facts.
Do your
it's
research.
it's it's amazing. Do you know what? Like, the job descriptions are overlooked. I know, like, read them, please. My biggest advice to anybody is read the job descriptions properly and analyze elements of that because those are nuggets that the organization are giving you. And if you can kind of, in your messaging to me or to any recruiter, if you can, like, Patrick just mentioned, if you can kind of give a resolution, based on what you've read a solution, sorry, based on what you've read in the job description, and you can show us that you can solve a problem in terms of what we're doing as an organization. We're going to be like, ding, 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 ding. Okay, we have to speak to you, and you stand out more than anyone else because you've gone the extra length. You've gone extra, a little bit further to show that you are the right candidate. And so,
Right.
I would be silly not to want to speak to you and to not bring you forward for, a further review. So, yeah.
I think, I
Yeah.
mean, you'd be hard pressed to beat the "I need a job" dude, but I think
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it'll put you a little bit above.
I'm my favorite guy. Need job. Here, resume. Who
Yeah,
are you? Need
I
job.
mean, yeah, yeah.
job
You
good.
see everything. You see everything. Yeah.
You see everything. I get this all the time.
Yeah.
No job, bad. Hilarious.
Uh,
Um,
Amazing.
But it's funny because it's true. I mean, any recruiter can align with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
man, that
I mean, even as a staffing agency, people come in, and I remember one time there was the guy who just walked into the staffing agency. He's like, "Hey guys, I need a job here." I'm like, Okay, what do what do you do?" "Oh, I'm a comedian at nighttime, and I'm also doing accounting work." All right. Well, obviously we can't get you any gigs. You realize that, right? Like, um, I don't know why you told us about that, but like, you
okay.
do you want you're looking for an accounting job? Yeah, looking for an accounting
Yeah.
job. What type of accountant are you looking to be? I don't have time for you to go back and forth, back and forth. So
That-
you eventually get to some kind of like understanding of like, oh, you like cost accounting. And not only do you like cost accounting, you want it to be with a manufacturing industry. We have no relationships with them. Goodbye, sir.
Yeah,
You just
I was
wasted
about to
my
say
time.
that's when you pull a card out and say, "What you need is a career coach," because this is the totally the wrong
Yes.
approach of doing.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Here you go and try again. Thank you, sir. For real.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why recruiters get bad rap because people come in there and start asking these questions, and they say, "Oh man, this recruiter's an asshole. He's not trying to help me."
That's
That's
not my
not
job.
You need to help with
that's not
some of
it.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
recruiter. I mean, I don't even see how people get confused. The term is right there. I recruit. I don't coach. So, but it is. If in common sense was common, you know.
That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah. Common sense is common. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, did we hit all our points?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the outreach messages was really the main piece there. I mean, I think we talked about that.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, if you're looking for someone that actually knows how to use these outreach strategies and someone that knows how to do these things, you
Hey,
get a coach that can help you to do that.
absolutely.
That's it. I mean, we're growing minds here, growing minds, and trying to educate the people to make everybody's life a lot easier.
And you feel like you have a little bit of knowledge of doing it, you can check out Coach Dave's March ebook and on helping you to write a better resume. So, there's that. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's the last plug I would like to say.
Yeah, we got an ebook, which it really should say that it's based off of the actual work that I've done with clients.
Mm.
So it's not like something that is not tested and it's something that I don't implement myself. Everything I'm talking about in the ebook is things I've already done and seeing that it works. And now I'm putting in an ebook because it's the easiest way for people to get access to it. If you can't pay for extra coaching sessions, you can get a book. I mean, it's the same thing as you can go to school for chemistry, go to courses, get an instructor. I mean, get structure and get an instructor, or you can just get a textbook.
Yeah.
I
And blow up
mean,
your house. No, I'm teasing. It's just a joke.
I mean, you're probably going to learn a lot better if you had an instructor if you're trying to learn chemistry, but you might not have all the money to grab that kind of education. You might only have $20 or something.
And I feel that people who are tenacious about getting something, getting knowledge, they will be able, they'll digest it. A
Yeah,
lot of times people are just lazy as far as, understanding, researching, and digging for the answers. So, yeah.
yeah. If you want knowledge now, check it out.
All right,
All right,
guys.
guys. Thanks, everyone. This has been a great episode.
Oh, mate, been a
We're
pleasure.
peacing out with the Growth Mindset podcast here.
I'll take care.
Thanks for having me.